Good morning and welcome back to the Radical Vision for Disabilities show, where we understand how people with disabilities sometimes need to have a voice. And if we can have that voice be from the caregiver, that's great. But if there's other people that are associated with that person that can be that voice for them, to give them the voice that they need in order to be heard, that's phenomenal. So I've got a special guest coming back, a friend of the show. Greg Cini is coming back, and he is going to join us from the Kemper House in Worthington, Ohio. Good morning, Greg.
Hello, Brian. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. Thanks for having me. They say three's a charm, right?
Absolutely.
Time.
Woohoo! A friend of the show.
Absolutely. I enjoy doing it.
Good. I'm so glad, and I appreciate you being on because we want to help people, with disabilities. So that's a really big goal of ours. So tell me, Greg, last week we had someone on the show. Her name was Lisa, and she has a husband who 10 years ago was experiencing some issues, and they weren't really sure what it was. And then they went in and out of different doctor's appointments and really didn't get to a point where they understood what it was. There was no formal diagnosis until about 5 years later. So it was 2016 when they actually diagnosed her husband with Alzheimer's. And it was shocking. It was because, for at least anyways, I know she was shocked by it, but her husband, believe it or not, said to her, and put his hand on her leg and said, are you okay? So it almost seemed like the husband knew about the diagnosis before the wife did, and I'm wondering if there's anything that could be done to prevent some of that.
Wow, that's a big package to unbundle, but I guess the short answer is there are things that you can do, but I'll start with this, is that I'm sort of on a similar journey right now personally with my own mother. First quarter of last year, so I think it was March of 2020, my mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And it didn't come as a surprise to any of us. We had seen signs 4 or 5 years earlier when she had some trauma in her life. So her husband passed, my stepfather, and then she had some real back issues where she had to have some surgery. And so there was some medication, painkillers involved. And we thought that it might have been a little bit of depression from my stepfather passing away, and then also just some health issues. And so we sort of brushed it off to that and let it take its course. Well, fast forward, and now that I own and operate one of the most premier Alzheimer's and dementia cares in the nation, and have learned so much about the disease and things that are the cause of dementias, that usually it really is something that there is a cause and there is an effect to it. And the earlier that we can sort of step in with therapies, the better chance we're going to have to either staving off the effects of cognitive decline and degenerative diseases, and also be able to reverse some of the effects as well. So with that, let's just say, let's rewind. I think her name was Lisa. Let's rewind Lisa and her husband's life back to 2011, I think it was, when they really started recognizing, and often families do this. So families are usually the first to start recognizing, hey, something's not right about mom or dad or spouse or what have you. And often the person dealing with it recognizes it too. So the first step in this is really be truthful with yourself and with your family members, and look at those symptoms discerningly. And that can be hard. A lot of people sort of go into denial and don't want to confront that. So the most important thing is to realize something is going on. And if your gut is telling you that something's going on cognitively, like the memory's just not there, the executive function just isn't there, maybe mom or dad or loved one gets sort of confused coming back from the grocery store that they've been to 1,000 times. Those are little hints to saying, hey, something's going on wrong here. So in that phase of it, when you start seeing some things early on is when you can really start making some impact. And just know there is a cost to sort of dealing with the disease, but I'll tell you this much, that the things that impact it the most and do the best to fighting back against the progression of the disease are really standard living cost stuff, because it's all about lifestyle. So I guess just to unpackage that a little is, so when you start recognizing things, let's even go back further than that, actually. Just know that there are actually symptoms 20 years prior to a diagnosis of dementia, and specifically Alzheimer's. But they're so subtle that the only way you can pick up on them is by doing like blood testing, neuro examinations, having consistent, what I call cognitive assessments. So if you are, let's just say mom or dad or somebody in your family has had some form of dementia, you are actually more likely to end up with dementia as well. Now, that doesn't mean it's a death sentence that you're absolutely going to get it. Even if your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, everybody in your family had diseases, because a lot of it has to do with the lifestyle that you live. And so if you live a brain healthy lifestyle from early on, you're less likely to die of some type of cognitive disease. You can just die of old age, whatever that looks like. So one of the things that I'm actually on the Ohio Task Force for Alzheimer's and related dementia, and our whole ask is to create awareness, to create better sciences for treatment and prevention, education, all these types of things, that we want to create a society and Ohioans that are well versed on understanding the dynamics of healthy cognition. And so we're actually going to be start to work on policies, procedures, working with how can things that would help to reverse cognitive decline. How can we afford that right now? Most of the things, let's just say Lisa's husband gets diagnosed with some type of dementia. There are actually some things that you can do to help start to stave off, slow down the progression. Some are pharmaceutical, so there are some drugs out there that help to slow down. There's no drug on earth that's been able to reverse cognitive damage from dementia. But there are lifestyle decisions that you make that can help to improve your cognition. So there's so much here. I know I'm talking a lot. Go ahead, Brian.
All right. That's all right. We'll leave it at this. If you want to hear more, stay right there.
And we're back.
Cool. Do a break, Greg.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sometimes I just get going on, and
I love the passion. That's awesome. So tell us, when we experience something like this, it's got to be heartbreaking. But how do we know what to do?
Yeah. So I tell families that the first thing to do is sort of surround yourself with professionals, a medical team that understands all the latest in research, technology, nutrition, fitness, all the things that go into cognitive decline reversal. And that's not easy to find right now. There's only a handful of physicians across the nation that really buy into restorative therapies for cognition. We happen to be partnered with one, so Kemper's Cleveland. So we're a sister company to the Kemper family up in Cleveland that started Kemper House. I've just been dear friends with Betty Kemper, their founder, for 20 years, and she let us bring their care to Central Ohio. But our sister company started a cognitive wellness center called Kemper Cognitive Wellness up in Cleveland. And so I've taken my own mother there. I've had aunts there. We have some of our residents that go there. And it's all designed to really combat against cognitive decline of any sort, not just dementia. I mean, we all have sort of aging cognitive declines, what you consider normal decline versus abnormal decline. And there could be many causes to that. That could be medical, it could be environment, so many different things. But the Cognitive Wellness Center really helps to sort of figure that out. They do brain scans, blood draws. They'll test 100 different things on a blood draw, everything from mold, mildew, mercury poisoning, any type of thing, that vitamin deficiency. They want to just sort of baseline where you are from a health standpoint, and then fix those things. And then once you fix all that, because all those things actually play against your cognition. A healthier body is a healthier brain. So if you have all these little micro things that are playing against the health of your body, it impacts the function of your brain. And so what they try to do is right line all that and then figure out, okay, now what are we dealing with specific to your cognition? And in most cases, once you start right lining all of those different things, fitness, eating, sleeping, managing stress, making sure that your body is healthy, has the right vitamins, is not poisoned by mercury or mildews or molds or whatever those things are. Those are environmental things. You know, what's your health? Are you following your doctor's prescriptions, what they're telling you to do to deal with hypertension and diabetes and all these different things. And so they really work closely to try to figure that out. So the first step would be to get like an early detection, something that can help you to figure out, is there some decline? Kempers could do that. You can do it through us. We offer free assessments, and it's the number one, first of its kind FDA approved cognitive risk assessment machine called CogniView. You're welcome to come to Kemper House. We do it for free. We do it, like I tell people, from age 40, start getting a cognitive assessment as often as you get a physical checkup.
For a baseline?
Yep, you want to get that baseline. And it allows you to stay ahead of your cognition. So if, let's say you score 95 out of 100, and then like 5 years later, you're down to an 82, we can go, whoa, wait, what's going on here? Normally, you'd see very little cognitive decline physically on, how somebody's acting, but we can recognize that early on, and then we can go, okay, let's look at your lifestyle. We can do some life coaching to go, where are you at? What are you doing? And then if it's bigger than we are on just free coaching, then we can push you to some specialists and really direct you in a way that you can get in front of the right neurologists, the right doctors, physicians, whoever that is, locally or wherever.
So it sounds like there really is a roadmap now.
There is.
So what would you say would be would be the first thing you would have someone do? That
if they start recognizing an issue, you go to your family physician, let them know what's happened. You have to really force the issue. In Lisa's case, you had mentioned that basically they went and in 2011 and they said, hey, something's wrong with my husband. You know, he's super sharp man, and for some reason is struggling with some of the simpler things of life. It could be balancing a checkbook or, you know, running numbers or whatever it is. You know something's wrong. Typically the medical community will go, we've done our tests, everything seems to be fine. It's only till it reaches that episodic mode where they start reacting. So just be forceful about getting in front of neurologists, really getting a battery of tests, getting the right blood tests. Right now, one of the problems is that many of the health insurance plans do not provide any funds for preventative. No, it's all reactive.
That's a great segue. So talk to us a little bit about cost.
Yeah. So right now, if the early stage stuff is really just lifestyle decisions, like I had mentioned, eating right, sleeping right, managing stress, making sure that your environment doesn't have molds and mildews, that you're eating the right type of fish that doesn't have mercury in it. So those types of things are just lifestyle decisions. So that what they call that is being active prevention, right? First is education, understand how to live that life. And then if for some reason you see something's wrong, it's having the right people in place for early detection. That could cost money. In some cases, it depends. A lot of the early detection methodology can be covered through insurance plans. It's really when you get into sort of the restorative and optimization part of it that is not currently covered by any type of insurance. So you're paying out of pocket for that. So to go up to Kemper Cognitive Wellness or something like that, you're paying out of pocket for that. But those are some of the things that our task force are trying to figure out, that can we put policies in place that allow insurance companies to cover some of those types of things, that they recognize them as valid therapies. So we're sort of working towards that. I would say in 5 years, that's going to be something that will be covered under insurance. But right now, if you wanted to go to Kemper Cognitive Wellness and do a full assessment and get a brain optimization plan, it's like $3,500 out of pocket.
I remember when
afford that.
Yeah. So I remember when my mother-in-law went into senior living. It was assisted senior living. Actually, I think she might have started as independent living, but then it went to assisted, and then they actually built. It was someplace in Dublin, but they built an additional facility for memory care. And so once she went to the different level, then it would be a different cost. And so he talks a little bit about that. What can we expect?
So dementia is costing our world trillions of dollars. So if we can spend more money on educating about brain health, we can reduce the burden to the world dramatically. So that's the first start. You know, our community, we're private pay. It ranges anywhere from $5,200 a month up to $7,500 a month. And so it's not cheap to care for somebody. There are some Medicaid buildings that are out there for low-income families, but I can tell you they're not doing the things that provide the highest quality of life for their residents just because they can't afford to. So right now there's not really a good answer. That's part of this task force, is how can we help people to manage in their own home cost effectively? How can we bring care to homes? How can we reduce costs of communities like Kemper House? And so it's not a cheap venture to deal with dementia. I always tell families, read, learn, educate yourself about helping somebody manage in their own home as long as they possibly can. So making sure that they're safe is number one. Making sure that they have independence. There are things that you can do in your home to really help somebody stay in their home as long as they possibly can. But there's a certain point where all of a sudden, and you don't know, it's just one day, it's dangerous. And you don't know when that day is going to be. There's never a wrong time to make that decision, really. And I would say the earlier, the better. You can get somebody into a place or surrounded by people that know what they're doing and dealing with the disease, the better off it will be, not only for the person suffering with the disease, but for the family. It will give them, if you put them in the right place, it will give them peace of mind and comfort.
Yeah. Yeah. So in that regard, I mean, from a financial perspective, we need to talk about this. So, we'll just get it out there. I thought I'd seen somewhere, and maybe I read this wrong, but I saw somewhere where you could have a approach where you would pay the same amount. You wouldn't have to worry about, are you going from independent living to assisted care or to memory care, or you would just have one cost throughout. So that would make it more less stressful for the family. Is there something like that?
Yeah, so there are buy-ins where you put a large sum of money on the front end, and they try to control the cost, and it's pretty much, you still pay a monthly rate, and it does change as the care increases. It's just you guaranteed whenever you move in through end of life, but there's caveats to that. I tell people that wherever they're at, find whatever state they're in, city they're in, find really the best care. And you'll know it when you walk in there, and it's the people. It's not about the building. It's not about the beautiful amenities. It is about the people. And when you walk out of there, you'll either feel the love or you won't feel the love. Yeah. If you feel the love, that's where you want your loved one. And they might graduate into higher care, and you just sort of deal with that. At Kemper House, it's an all-inclusive rate. I like that because no matter where mom or dad is in the disease process, it costs that same amount every month, and they can plan more financially. Yeah, there are a couple different models out there. You just have to watch and read the fine print before investing in something like that. But I do like the all-inclusive, because you can really project your finances. Even though mom or dad might be progressing through the disease, it's not going to cost you more money per month.
No, that's good to know. There's a friend of ours on, Robert LaFrance. Hello, Robert. It's good to see you this morning. Hopefully you're getting something out of this conversation. If you have any questions, anybody else on the line that has any questions, by all means, put in a hashtag live. If you're listening live, if you're listening on replay, put a hashtag replay. But then let us know where you're coming in from. So, Robert, let me know where you're at. And also, if you would, share this video out with as many people as you can on your timeline. That would be helpful because we want to make this community larger. And the larger this community gets, the better off we're all going to be. So thank you for that. And then, if you want to hear more, if you want to see more and find out more about what I'm doing, go to brianwagner.live and sign up for Vision Insights. So there you go. Thank you. And Greg, we've got about 4 or 5 minutes left. Tell us a little bit more about this cost model. That's interesting. Robert's coming in from Quebec. Hi, Robert.
Oh, Quebec. Nice.
Cool.
Beautiful. Man, we are stretching across the world here. Honestly, one of our big missions, and I'll get back to the cost thing, is to really get the word out about preventative measures for cognitive decline. And the whole goal here at Kemper House is to educate people that they can do something, and ultimately is to keep people out of a building like ours. Dementia is a dreadful disease. It's debilitating, not only for our residents, but for their families. It just takes, and it's not prejudice. It attacks any life. And so to know that there are actual triggers that go into the onset of particular types of dementias, that tells you that if you change that environment and take that trigger out, that there's ways to keep it out of our lives. And so that's our whole goal. Dr. Brennanson, Dale Brennanson out in California, he's probably one of the leaders when it comes to prevention and reversal of cognitive decline. And he talks about 36 inputs, and there's 36 different things that if you do them right, you can really prevent dementia in your life. So it's like having a house with 36 different holes. And if you only patch one or two of those with medicine and do this or that, you'll only get, your roof still leaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you really need to take a multimodal approach in order to really combat against the disease itself. And so, once again, back to the pricing model. The one thing that I've learned being on the owner side of this is the power of long-term care insurance. I, at a young age, was told I should buy long-term care insurance. And I'm like 30. Why would I want that?
Uh-huh.
Well, dadgum, I wish I didn't buy it. But they said the ripe age to buy it is 50-ish. So I'm 54. But right now there's only a few carriers, and it costs more because it's too much risk because most people end up in some type of long-term care environment. So the money just isn't there for insurance companies. But I would highly recommend if you're 40s, 50s, 60s, invest in long-term care insurance. It pays dividends and it protects your assets on the back side of this. And there's a lot of different levels of insurance that you can purchase. So that's sort of a private pay thing. So we take insurance, long-term care insurance, and then also the VA offers a certain dollar amount. It depends on, so you had to be active theater during wartime, and they pay up to, I think it's almost like $2,700 a month towards it. They also pay a certain dollar amount towards spouses of people that were in active wartime. So that's something that you should check into if you have a veteran in your family and they're having to deal with some type of, and I think you can actually get that for assisted as well. So we're a licensed assisted living. So that could cover assisted living and dementia care as well. And then there's sort of like the low income side of thing. It's called Medicaid. Medicaid pays for living in institutional care. And like I said, they're handcuffed a little bit as to the quality of care and life that they can provide. But in some cases, if that's the best and most affordable way you can do it, you can always do that.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, this time has blown by again. So what would be one thing you would leave our listeners with?
So yeah, I guess my mission is really to educate and help people through the process of dealing with cognitive decline. So you can contact me if you have any questions. If you're in your 40s and you want to start doing early detection cognitive testing assessments, we'd be glad to do that here. You can contact me at 614-861-8330, or you can go to our website at kemperhouseworthington.com and feel free to just reach out to Greg Cini. I would be glad to help you out and either direct you down the right path or help you with some assessments.
Kemper House
Worthington.com.
Worthington.com. And then I'm going to scroll that. And your number again was 614
681
681
8330.
88330.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to add that banner. And then, so we're going to do this. So there's the Kemper House. Did I spell it right?
You did. Look at that.
Awesome.
Wow, man, you're so sophisticated anymore. Jeez, I can't handle this.
I'm all fancy.
Yeah, right. Good job.
So there's
Thank
your
you.
number.
I really appreciate you. I mean, just us being able to get the word out, put goodwill out to the community. This isn't about Kemper House. This is about changing lives. And I know that's what your podcast is about. So I'm grateful to be on it and to be speaking to people in Quebec and around the world. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg, I'm going to wave you off. You can go to the green room for a little bit if you would. I'll talk to you when I come back.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Greg. Take care.
Bye, you all.
All right. Bye. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. That was great. Greg Cini really knows a lot about memory care. Phenomenal guy. Just a great person to be around. So if you ever have any questions about memory care, by all means, let me know and let us know. Put in a hashtag replay if you're listening to this on replay. And if you have any questions, and there is my friend Lisa. Hi, good morning, Lisa. It's good to see you. It's nice to have had you on. And again, thank you as well, Kenny, for you joining, and any others that are joining in any form or fashion. I appreciate that. So, but if sorry, my tongue got away from me. If there's ever anything that I can do for any of you, by all means, in any certain way, just let me know. I appreciate. Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate all of you. Thanks a lot. Take care. And as always,